everybody, this is Lisa. Welcome to Unfuck Your Life and Embrace Your Awesomeness, the podcast that celebrates you unapologetically living your adventurous life. So I'm Lisa. I am your hostess on this ride, and today we're going to talk about how do you find your soulmate? Oh my goodness, I have been getting this question more than any other question. I have been getting more clients on this topic rather than any other topic lately than I have in a very long time. Lisa, I gotta find my soulmate. Lisa, how do I find my soulmate? Lisa, how do I connect with my soulmate? Lisa, how do I get my soulmate to recognize me? Does this sound familiar to anyone? Once upon a time, I was a serial dater, and to my definition of a serial dater is I was dating anyone and everyone, and I was losing track. And I did not follow this advice. I figured this out along the way. So if you haven't already, grab a pen and paper, or you can listen to the podcast. You can look at the notes and they will be detailed for you. So if you haven't already done so, please like, follow, share this podcast because I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. So let's get down to the 3 steps in how do you find your soulmate. So the first thing is, right now, without censoring yourself in any way, write down every single trait he, she, they have to have. Do they have to be tall? Do they have to be smart? Do they have to be rich? Do they have to be poor? Do they have to know how to fix stuff? What are all those traits? Are they kind? What color eyes do they have? Write everything down that you can think of. The things that don't matter, you don't have to write that down. It just simply doesn't matter. 2, the second step is go through that list. And what is a nice to have? Identify the nice to haves. They're not absolutely essential. They're not critical. They're not a must have. They're not a deal breaker. They're just nice to haves. Identify the deal breakers. If they have this or they have that, they're dead to me. Go through that until there are only 2 or 3 characteristics that are absolutely what you must have. And the third step is recognize that all of those characteristics reside within you. Own it. What I had heard before is that you got to be that before you can have it. What I have recognized is most of the time, like 99% of the time, like 99.8% of the time, people do already. That's already who they are. They just haven't validated for themselves. They haven't owned it within themselves. They haven't expressed it for themselves. They haven't claimed it. And it's true. It is absolutely freaking true. So let's go through each of those steps individually. Let's go through it again. Let's go through that. So write down absolutely everything that you want this person to have. Are you going to be in a polyamorous situation? Are there going to be multiple partners? List all the things that are important to you. How do they feel about animals? How do they feel about kids? How do they feel about other people, about friends, about what are their TV viewing habits? What are the things that they like to talk about? All of this kind of stuff. Write it all down. Everything down. Don't censor yourself in any way. So 2, now let's go through that list. Go through that list and really, really, really get clear. Yeah, it would absolutely be nice to have somebody that came orchestrated like that. That isn't how life works. It doesn't work. You're not that way. They're not that way. Go through that list and what is absolutely most important. When I was doing this with one client of mine, he had this whole list of characteristics of what he wanted his wife to be. How tall she was, the gorgeous body, the brilliant smile, all through a whole bunch of stuff. And I told him, didn't censor the list, and I didn't censor him for it. Write out whatever you feel is important. That's what he did. And then as he went through that list, and he went through that list, and he went through that list, and he went through that list, there were 2 things that he selected, traits that she had to have. Would you like to know what those were? The first one is she absolutely positively had to want children. And the second one was must love animals. He preferred cats. That was the thing. However, a person who loved animals is what was important to him. He had a list that was 4 pages long and sent it down to just those 2 things. And now he had to he recognized for himself as he was going through that list. Step 2 and step 3 often happen together, that he realized that was who he was at his heart. That's what he liked to be validated for, not how smart he was, not how much money was in his bank account, not all the various different papers that he had written, none of that. What mattered was the fact that, yes, he wanted to have a child with his significant other, and cats were a really big part of his life. And so now he owned that within himself. Often, what needs to happen in this kind of situation is, if you aren't dating, get out there and start dating. You got to go out there and you got to meet people. It's just the way that it is, where you're meeting them online, you're seeing people in coffee shops, and just smile. Have smiles on your face more often. And now dare to do something completely out of the box. Would you like to know what that is? In that, getting yourself out there, in that, talking to more people, expand your dating pool. I'm not talking about dating narcissistic fuckwits, things like that. Although you certainly can, because then you figure out more of what you don't want. Expand your dating pool and decide to date somebody. Maybe their age is a little bit different. Maybe their body looks a little different. Expand your dating pool. Start having more conversations with more people. Talk with them, get to know them, what's important to them. Usually you can figure out pretty quickly who you absolutely never ever want to see or talk to again. And it gets intriguing to find out more layers, more of, I wonder what this person gets excited about. I wonder what lights this person up. Those are my first questions whenever I am speaking with anybody. And even if I haven't asked the question of them, I'm asking that question of myself. And getting to know this person, I wonder what their passions are, because they become apparent very quickly. Share and listen. Listen and share. Get to know other people. And it seemed like in this dating, we're on like this fast track. Not only do you meet, it's got to be the perfect person. And oh, by the way, you got to feel that physical chemical, and you got to feel that emotional, and you got to feel all of that. Take a breath and relax, because you're in for the long game. You're in for your life. You're in for their life. You're in for the fun of it, for the ride of it, for the journey of it, for the exhilarating deliciousness of it all. And I can teach you this. I'm not going to do it here on this podcast. This is where you're going to actually have to have a conversation with me. I'm going to teach you how you do the call for your soulmate. And you have to have done all the steps first, because you can only do the call once. As you activate that within yourself, within your field, for them to find you. So remember, write everything down, every single characteristic he, they, she has to have, no matter how detailed, no matter how small, no matter how petty, no matter how exorbitant. And now really go through that list. And what is a nice to have? What is a deal breaker? What is a must have? And until you have that list narrowed down to 3, you keep working on that process. And then realize that those 3 things, 2 things, that 1 thing, that is who you already are. You need to acknowledge it. You need to be it. And this isn't anything that you have to aspire to be. This is already who you truly be. You just need to own it, resonate it, share that with others. Expand potential people who are interesting, potential mates, potential soulmates, and just get to know a lot of other people. Be curious, listen, talk, share yourself. Listen, share, listen, over and over and over again. It gets really exciting to learn people's passions. And then, and you got to contact me for this, is that there is your soulmate call. You had to have done all the steps first, because you can only do that call once. So if you haven't booked a session with me already, remember, go to bookwithlisa.me. That's bookwithlisa.me. Follow this podcast and have all of those life-changing experiences and bring your soulmate into your life, because you are magical. You are definitely fucking worth it. And you are a delightful gift the world appreciates. So until next time, this is Lisa. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.